Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody and call to order the regular town council meeting for March the 3rd, 2025. If y'all could please stand and remain standing. Councilman Say, do the invocation, do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the opportunity to gather here this evening, Lord. We just ask that you guide and direct this council, Lord, as we take care of the business of the town, Lord. Lord, we just want special thanks for all of our staff and all of our administrative people, our EMS, our police department, Lord. We just ask your continued blessings upon them as we closely approach the upcoming busy season of the year. Lord, we just ask that we do those things in accordance with your will and your direction, and give us health and safety for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, public comment time. Miss Tina, you're up.
Oh, I'm first.
You're the only one.
I'm it.
Floor is yours
I'll
for
try to be entertaining.
4 minutes.
Hi, I'm Tina Zoller. I live at 3454 Main Street. And I have a question I've never heard come up before. And I was thinking about how we had the derelict boats last year. We have a dock that is what I would consider worse shape than any other. It's about 2 doors or 3 doors up from us, north of our house, which is like it's right next to the castle, a little bit south of the castle. And now that there's no one in the castle, it's even worse because it's become kind of what they call the attractive nuisance. It's extremely dangerous. I think it first broke up almost 10 years ago, and every storm that we've had, pieces of it come up on our, they get stuck under our dock and on our waterfront. Sometimes it's not too bad. I use the stumps and things, but sometimes there's pieces of, like old nails sticking out of the planks, and we have to be real careful. After every storm, we go out and look and see if there's anything poking up. And sometimes they get stuck in the mud and we can't really get to them. So, but also children like to climb on it. Last summer we had lots of them, and now that the castle's vacant, there's going to be more. So I just wanted to ask, I don't even know, is that something that the town can remove? I'm not sure what happened to the owners. I think they passed. I'm not sure. But, obviously somebody owns it at this point, but I don't think they're residents. But anyway, that's it. Thank you.
All right, need a motion for agenda adoption?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to adopt tonight's agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Staff reports. Mr. Talbot.
Thank you, ma'am. I want to follow up on a report I gave last month concerning relocating our wells, and that is to report on the status of our current drinking water and the reason we're moving wells. Since April of 2021, Wallops Lake Facility has operated a granulated activated charcoal filtration plant, which filters all of our raw water pumped from the town's shallow wells, which, as most of you know, contain PFAS. Operation of the plant is dependent upon the town of Chincoteague running any of the 4 shallow wells that we own over there. There are 2 filtration trains in this plant, and they are alternated by Nassau Weekly. The town operates the wells based on demand, and the GAC system has treated approximately so far 167.6 million gallons of water for the town. It effectively removes all the PFAS from our water and furnishes the town with completely safe water. Wallops Lake Facility built this plant on their own, and they operate it and do monthly testing of the town's finished water. And I am provided the sample results quarterly for each month, and I can say that the sample results that I've seen, we have seen no positive results for PFAS since they've been filtering. It's a very effective plant. And as I said, NASA operates, Wallops Lake facility operates this plant and will continue to operate it until our wells are moved and we are getting clean water again. Back on the sewer collection system, Underground Connections, our public sewer contractor, has been working since the beginning of February and is making steady progress. The contract reports that all of the 2-inch portion of the collection system has been completed. The system is made up of 2-inch, 3-inch, and 4-inch pipe. All the 2 inches done. The contractor will shift operations from Maddox Boulevard in the next few weeks and start on Main Street and try to get Main Street done and out of the way before we start to get busy. And he is trying to complete the entire job before Memorial Day gets here. As I said, I believe last time we met, his 150-day contract includes a break over between Memorial Day and Labor Day. He cannot work between those dates, so he's trying to finish it all now. Looking at meals and TOT, this is February's collections for the level of business in town for the month of January. Meals tax collections are up slightly, and TOT is down year over year fairly significantly. While the budget percentage of budget for meals and tax remains typical for the month of January, TOT continues to lag, and it lags recent years in this category. That being said, we are still projected to meet 100% of projected revenues by the end of this fiscal year, which is a very good thing, of course. Looking at our overall financial report, there's still nothing unusual to report there. Our revenues look good for this time of year, and so do our expenditures. So we're performing nominally there. Trolley right now, Billy's just working on winter type things. He is handing out brochures. He's also, this week we're going to undergo a 2-day on-site review compliance from DRPT. They will be here to take a look at our operation. We don't expect any issues with that. Looking at the center, February was busy. We had a very big bingo sponsored by the fire company and Excel Auxiliary with over 250 people in attendance. They did give away a $1,000 jackpot at the end of that, but it was very well attended. And that was on a Friday night with a quick turnaround. They had the Fireman's Banquet there the following night on Saturday, so the building was well used that weekend. There you see a picture of what the banquet looked like. Coming up, and Mary Ashford reports that March is starting to be the busy month of the year. Coming up, we have a job fair, I believe this weekend, and spring yard sales coming up. And she also reminds everyone that the center is open daily between 9 and 10 a.m. if folks want to walk in there and not walk in the cold weather. For building, last month we had 27 building permits for a total cost of construction of $1.3 million and the total building fees collected $3,700. And that being said, I think most of you know that Kelly Lewis is retiring. I keep telling her that it's June, July, August, but she keeps telling me it's the end of this month. So she'll be retiring at the end of this month. I'm happy to report that we have hired a new finance director, and if she'd stand up, this is Miss Leanne Deal. She is our new finance director. She started training with Kelly today, and they have the whole month of March to do the handoff. So we're looking, I know Kelly is looking forward to retiring, and we're looking forward to working with Leanne here moving forward. And with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions?
Welcome.
Welcome aboard. All right, Chief Greenlee.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So, Lieutenant Gladding, PFC Noah McGee, and PFC Anthony Todd attended CIT training. That's a 40-hour class, and it teaches law enforcement how to respond to people dealing with mental health crises. So that's a very important training. I know we had went years without sending anybody to that, and I'm working diligently on getting all officers trained in that. I think I got about 2 or 3 more to go, but this fall I plan on having that done. In-service training. This go around, it was Cody Butler, John Carmody, and Christian Stevens. So they are all certified again for 2 years. And then Cody Turlington, Anthony Todd, and Justin Newsom, all of our new officers, are now certified in radar and LiDAR. So that's all I have for the month. If there's any questions.
Any questions for Chief Greenway? Mr. Parks?
Good evening. My report's a little bit short this month. We weren't busy, but most of it wasn't picture worthy. Again, we spent many hours pushing snow and spreading salt and sand. We've got the equipment all cleaned up and stored for hopefully a long time. So keep fingers crossed there. This month brought several leaks for the water department that they were needed to go out and fix. We all pitched in there and got that work done. And as well as the leaks, they also installed 6 new services and 1 water main extension this month. So the water department has had a busy month this month as well. We were able to fit in between all the snow and everything else. We've gotten a good chunk of the fishing pier down at Memorial Park done. As of today, we've got everything done except the gazebos and the transition from the new boat ramp to the fishing pier. So we've got a good chunk of that done. We also put new gutters on the gym. That's been much needed, and got that done this month. Items planned to be completed in March. We'll skip the first one. Please, no more snow. The gym floor is going to happen at the end of March, maybe possibly the first week in April. We're going to continue the fishing pier, and once we finish that fishing pier, we're going to begin on the Taylor Street renovations. So if you've got any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
I do. Down at the gazebos, the spindles, the vertical spindles, are they going to get replaced too?
I was going to, yes, ma'am.
Good, because I've noticed sometimes I'm down there that 2 or 3 of them get knocked out, and they probably are past their prime. Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Parks?
We meet tomorrow night.
Probably works late 6 o'clock. All right, let's continue. Mr. Rush.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll wait for Mr. Talbot to bring my presentation up there. As we get started here, Councilman Taylor had a question regarding the patient care reporting. And what we're doing there is we're helping out a neighboring agency because they still run some volunteer calls. OCall pretty much the county DPS staff running there. So that's why they weren't included in our process there of doing their patient care reporting. But we had a lot of units left over. The fire company on the patient care reporting, so we went ahead and added Greenbackville. So I've got that just about built out for them. They're doing some testing right now. As soon as that's done, we will add them on, and then they'll have their own agency inside our system. So that will save them. That all came about because the state, over the last few years, was giving out a lot of freebies, and as you know, the Office of EMS and the Virginia Department of Health got in a lot of money trouble. So they're starting to reel that stuff back in. So that's why they were going to have to get their own programming, and for no more calls than they run a year, well less than 100, it was just not going to be cost effective for them. So why not help out a neighboring agency that helps us out? So as you can see up there, since your report last week, or the beginning of the week, I should say the end of the week, I can't remember what day it is anymore, unfortunately, but it finished the year with 71 calls. So still not extremely busy, but still 6 more than last year in February. So we're still gaining call volume each and every month that we go. Training this month, all staff members, all the RSI paramedics did their yearly training on their difficult airway training for the drugs and apparatus that are used for that. So we did manage to get that done. And also, there's times where folks are like, okay, well, what goes on when they're not running calls, they're not training, they're not doing paperwork? Well, we started our deep spring cleaning of the station, because if we wait until true spring, we're going to be too busy then to do it. So as you can see there, I picked out a couple of the shift fellows up there, and you can see they're cleaning anything. I hope their wives don't see this. I thought about that on the way here tonight, because boy, they're not going to be happy with me. But we're pulling furniture out of rooms, cleaning corners. You can see they're scrubbing everything down, because again, this is where we live, work for 365 days a year. So they've been working on the apparatus bays, also in the living quarters as well. So it's a slow process, getting it done and getting it done right. But it also builds some teamwork along with it, and they have a good time at times. I won't go into some of the pranks that get pulled, but it's all safe. However, it is a good team building exercise for the folks.
Do you call 911, get that service out?
So, we will do some basic stuff before we take you to the hospital. We'll, shut your heat off your stove. Believe it or not, there's been a time or two where we've actually, finished a quick meal because either the wife or the husband refused to leave the other because of a meal. But, I don't know that, if we go into that deep, their wives are really going to be mad at them. But, I'm game if we want to do it. On the emergency management side of things, things are really starting to get busy there as well. Of course, weather monitoring continues, and then you've received quite a few email briefings from me over the last month or so. There's been quite a few conference calls, and then on that last snowstorm, we did do some cost tracking, but thankfully we didn't spend enough to be eligible for anything. The launch range meetings continue because the range is going to get busy here in the second quarter of 25 all the way out through the end if the plan holds right. Also, we're working on our 4-year hazard mitigation plan update. We had our kickoff meeting, and then later this month we'll have our first in-person meeting working on the hazard mitigation plan. Did a quarter library fire drill for the first quarter, just believe it or not, last week. We didn't, the week before I was going to go down there and do it, and there was snow and ice everywhere, so I kind of thought better of doing a fire drill while everybody had to run outside on the sidewalk. And then we're still working on our EOP revision, which again by state code is every 4 years. So hope to have that in front of you by the June meeting, if not maybe May. All right, so again, can't say it enough, and more for the folks that are out there listening, but now is the time to prepare. We're coming out of winter storm season, hopefully, as Wes pointed out, that we don't have to worry about any more snow, but certainly there's going to be some more wind events. We get into severe storm season, there could be power outages for a time. And then we begin moving into the tropical storm season. So now is the time, while the sun's shining, a beautiful day like today, now is the time to get out there, get your supplies, get your disaster kits ready, and start to have a plan for you and your family as you move forward. So in summer, EMS remains busy, and emergency management is getting even busier. We're doing many plan revisions and rewrites this time of the year, and again, they all seem to have fallen here in 25 to get them done. Storm season is approaching, and then planning is underway for our 2025 large events. Before you know it, things are really going to be getting busy. So can't urge anyone enough to prepare, but go out and prepare now while the sun's shining. And I will entertain any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Rush?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have village neighbors here, correct? Come on up.
Gotcha.
Good evening, Mayor Bowden and members of the Town Council. My name is Catherine Chappelle. I am the Executive Director of Village Neighbors of Chincoteague Island. A little over a year ago, I appeared before you to tell you about what we were doing at Village Neighbors and to request a support from the town for our program to assist older island residents age comfortably in the place they call home. We are most grateful for the support the town provided in 2024. And I come before the council this evening to let you know what we've accomplished this last year and to request that you support our efforts again in 2025. As you likely know, approximately 40% of Chicago's year-round population is age 60 or older.
Where?
Chincoteague.
You said Chicago.
Well, I'm glad
It's cold out there.
She wanted to see if we were listening.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very glad everybody caught that. And I did not. And I appreciate that everyone's listening very.
We're listening to you very carefully.
Thank you. Well, this is our population, age 60 and older. Many older island residents live alone. Some do not drive or have modern technology, like computers and tablets, and many do not have family members nearby. Village Neighbors volunteers help fill these gaps to help meet the needs of Village Neighbor members. We wish you could experience what we do and see the practical help, that nurturing companionship that Village Neighbors volunteers provide every day, and the appreciation that the Village Neighbors members express in return. One Village Neighbors member recently described what we do as love in action. If I could direct your attention to the screens and go to that second screen. In 2024, Village Neighbors volunteered completed 650 service requests. That's 14 volunteer hours. And here are some of what we've accomplished last year. We drove members to over 100 off-island appointments, the majority of which were medical appointments. It can take half a day or more for a volunteer to drive members and then wait and then return from the appointments from places like Salisbury, Berlin, and Olney. And the volunteers pick up the cost of the gas as well. We've assisted with 140 on-island transportation requests for trips to get to the grocery store, pharmacy prescriptions and supplies, and other errands. We've made 144 friendly visits and phone calls to check on and talk with our members. We fulfilled 45 requests for handy person services, such as light housework, moving firewood and wood pellets, replacing bulbs and batteries, and furniture assembly, repair, and disposal. We've provided over a dozen services for essential technology assistance, such as installing printers, helping with new phones, and fixing cell phones and computers when they simply stop working. We've hosted 40 diverse activities, offering opportunities for learning, enhancing physical and mental health, fostering companionship, and providing fun and enriching experiences. And we also organized a very successful bus trip to Salisbury and continue to co-host popular bingo games at the community center. 2024 was an important inflection point for Village Neighbors as an organization. Last year, we became an independent nonprofit organization. Previously, Village Neighbors was a program of the Island Community House, or ICH. We continue to have a close affiliation with ICH. In fact, we rent our building from ICH. And we continue to work with ICH to provide programs and services like bingo for island residents and our visitors. Now, although Village Neighbors volunteers give their time and services freely, running the program is not free. It is critical that Village Neighbors has the basic operational functions, such as a paid part-time executive director to coordinate member requests and the volunteers who fulfill them, necessary office capacity, including a computer, scheduling software, internet service and phone line, commercial liability and other insurances, and background checks for every single volunteer. Finally and importantly, our commitment to ensure that no one is ever turned away for financial reasons means that we have to also cover that cost. We have grown tremendously since we started in 2022, directly serving over 70 island residents during that time. But we know there are many, many more neighbors age 60 and over in Chincoteague who need practical help and more social opportunities. Our goal is to reach out to engage more older island residents and in the future. We are extremely grateful for the support we've received from the town of Chincoteague in 2024, as well as from numerous individuals, businesses, and organizations that are part of our Chincoteague Island community. And we are keenly interested in maintaining the highest level of performance possible. You can help ensure Village Neighbors will continue to be a valued resource critical to extending the time our older neighbors can live in and be contributing citizens to the island we love. Thank you so much for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any
Thank
questions?
you. Thank you.
Mayor, thank all of your volunteers, not just myself, but thank all your volunteers for us. I know, I don't forget, because I was almost thinking down, when you first ran for council, it's the first thing on your mind, want something, the first thing. And guess what, the volunteers, not just your organization, but the ones that work with the youth, we could not come close to afford, but we can't afford to hire people that are as good as we got for free. And I mean that. I mean, the things that you can't do better than what we already got, that people are volunteering for free. Even whether we're working with youth, or we're the elderly, what we got here is it's a blessing. But thank all the volunteers.
I will.
Because as you well know, till you get there, it's needed. And we appreciate them very much.
Thank you.
I have seen this program in action, and I've seen people that I know use this program, and I've told a lot of people about it too. And you've heard me say, or somebody's heard me say, I hope it's around when I need something. I hope it's still around. Everybody, I feel, should be getting on board and backing Village Neighbors. It's such a great asset to this community, and I appreciate every single thing you're doing. And we'll go through the process like we did last year, as far as nonprofits and things like that. So when that time comes about, make sure you get your paperwork in.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank all of you as well.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got committee reports, and I'll start with Mr. McComb, Budget and Personnel.
So we met on February 18th, and the primary purpose of the meeting was to allow Town Manager Talbert to review employee salaries, retirement, and health care benefits, as well as some other pertinent topics as far as the upcoming FY25 budget. But that was the essential part of the meeting.
Any questions for Mr. McComb or anything? All right, now I need adoption of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adopt the February 4th, 25 minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carried. All right, Mike, review the state of emergency.
And as everyone knows, when a state of emergency is declared, mayor can call it, but it has to be confirmed by council at the next meeting, of which this is. So I'll go ahead and read it. Whereas the Town Council of the Town of Chincoteague does hereby find that 1, due to heavy snow and gusty winds the Town of Chincoteague is anticipating from a February winter storm, and 2, the possibility of associated conditions with the peril of life and property necessitates the proclamation of the existence of an emergency. Now, therefore, it is hereby proclaimed that at 10 a.m. on February 19th, 2025, an emergency now exists throughout said Town of Chincoteague, and it is further proclaimed and ordered that during the existence of said emergency, the powers, functions, and duties of the Director of Emergency Management and the Emergency Management Organization of the Town of Chincoteague shall be those prescribed by the state law and the ordinances, resolutions, and approved plans of the Town of Chincoteague to mitigate the effects of said emergency. Dated February 19th, 2025, Town Council of the Town of Chincoteague. And we will need a vote by council to be recorded on this.
Motion. Second.
Got a motion and a second to vote on the state of emergency that occurred at 10 a.m. on February 19th. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So moved.
I got something,
Yes.
a comment on that, and I have, I'm totally in favor of going into the state of emergency when we did. I think we need to sharpen up our protocol on that a little bit, because I think, and I looked that up, and it hasn't changed since COVID, but the state and local state of emergency may be declared by local director of emergency management, that's the mayor, with consent of the governing body of the political subdivision. We're supposed to consent to the state of emergency, going into the state of emergency, only unless we can't consent due to the disaster. So I think we need to, just in the future, need to look at that a little bit, because I didn't really know we were in a state of emergency. Saw Brian's email late that night that we were going to go into it, I think the night before, but I was never notified prior to it, and we could have convened. It wasn't a big, the weather didn't come till later. I'm just saying we need to follow that. And I think we're the ones that actually take us out of a state of emergency as well, I believe. So we probably need like 2 proclamations in the future, one to go in and one to go out, just to cover our bases. I don't want us to get into trouble in case we get to a point where we're actually seeking funding or something like that, a stint. They look for some paperwork and so forth.
Any comment on that, Brian?
No, we can add it into our EOP moving forward.
Okay. So now we need another proclamation to come out of it, Mike? Or we were out of it? Or no?
Well, this proclamation confirms that you went in. And it was scheduled to go out the next Friday morning at 10 a.m. when it run.
So the discussion then, and I'm sure Mr. Talbot told you, the move going forward, Accomack and Northampton, of course, were hit a lot harder, especially on the south end of Accomack and then Northampton County. So we try to keep a standard message because we use a lot of the same resources. So again, it was my recommendation to Mr. Talbot and then back through Mayor Bowden to go into that state of emergency, just in case. Again, it gives a unified message, but it also, in the event that it did get worse than what they were calling for. Friday morning, we all met Friday morning bright and early and discussed that nobody needed any resources. So the actual state of emergency was rescinded. So it's almost as if it didn't happen when you use rescind versus terminate. Terminate means there was an emergency, and then we're applying for resources and so forth, and or funding moving forward. Rescinded was no emergency happened.
So we don't need that.
Excuse me?
We don't need that then, if it was rescinded,
You
right?
can or you can't, because it puts it, according to the EOP, at the next, and if you look at the state code, when you go into that state of emergency, at the next regular meeting, then you adopt the proclamation. So the proclamation was adopted. You could have adopted it at your recommendation. A meeting could have been had the night before and adopted it, and then once it's rescinded, then it essentially doesn't exist. But
I'll check the state code and I'll put out an email to council on the exact wording, exactly how it's worded, because I, quite honest, haven't read it for a while. But I will check, make sure that if we need one to go in and come out, we'll do that. If this wasn't even required, then we can just nullify it. You don't have to sign the proclamation. But I'll check the state code in the morning, make sure we're legal on this.
Next item up, consider lawn vacation. Mike?
Mr. Turner here is representing Mr. Liscombe, so if you have any questions about the configuration or how the ordinance is constructed, he can answer those for you.
Good evening. Plat was submitted, there's a new plat, pretty straightforward. New lot would become, if approved, would become 3.286 acres. And, nice looking property as far as survey is concerned. And it's a survey of abandoning the line of a relatively recent subdivision. And Mr. and Ms. Liscombe are here, and I think everything was written up properly, hopefully. So at any rate, if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer. Okay.
Any questions for Mr. Turner?
I'll make a motion to dissolve the lot line.
I'll second.
A motion and a second to dissolve the lot line for Mr. and Mrs. Liscombe. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Thank you all so much. I want to say this, I've been coming up here every couple of years for 8 or 10 years. Such a well-run board and town, and I always wanted to say that, but I said, no, I shouldn't be saying that. You might think I'm sucking up to the board or something. But anyway, you got a large budget, you got a lot of responsibility, and it is a very well-run town. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next thing is is Mr. Talbert's going to review harbor, water, public works, and community center budgets.
Madam Mayor, I put this in this meeting because it was scheduled for the workshop meeting, which got canceled. We can go over this tonight in detail, or we can go over it tonight or at the Budget and Personnel Committee next week in detail, in which we're going to do some more budget work. But I put it in there more or less just to maintain our budget calendar. The four expenditures are harbor, water, center, and public works. Right now, they're pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of difference in this year and last year, other than a few capital projects. I can answer any questions now, and you can ask those questions again, or if you have further questions at the Budget and Personnel Committee next month or next week. I'll be happy to do either one.
Mr. Pleasure.
We can do a budget personnel.
Budget personnel meeting? Okay. All right then, Mike, you want to review the sewer project construction route and details?
I was asked to prepare a description of the current sewer project, and I tried to synopsize this from beginning to end without getting too far into the weeds. Most of you have been here through the entire project and know the details behind this, but I'll go through it quickly just to give everyone a quick overview. The background of this project: in the 1980s, the U.S. Coast Guard obtained the first permit from the Department of Environmental Quality to install a packaged sewer plant, and would treat raw sewage and discharge that effluent in Chincoteague Channel. This was the first time that treated sewage had been legally discharged into the waters of Chincoteague. Over the years, additional permits were obtained by various commercial enterprises, and today 5 package plants are legally discharging treated effluent into Chincoteague Channel. And when I say 5 plants, the one at Sunset Bay and this is the picture of Sunset Bay, is actually 2 package plants. One was an older plant that was there when they bought the property, and the other one was an additional plant they purchased to bring it up to the capacity they needed. Those 2 plants, by the way, the one on the left is not in operation. They use it as storage, and the one on the right is performing sewage treatment right now. One of the highest capacity plants was developed by Blue Water Development for the Sunset Bay condominium project. Since the plant had additional capacity, developers sold that additional capacity to various businesses along Main Street. Today, 10 businesses, in addition to Sunset Bay, to the Sunset Bay project, are sending sewage to the Sunset Bay plants. In December of 22, the town obtained ownership of the package plants at Sunset Bay from the original developer. Along with the plant ownership, and believe me, those plants were not the reason we did the deal, but along with the ownership, the transfer agreement included a valid DEQ discharge permit that was not being utilized. It was all approved, just sitting there, and that was the real benefit that we received from the transaction. This permit could provide an additional 37,000 gallons per day of sewage treatment, which is still on the shelf sitting there ready to be used. That same year, the town entered into an agreement to transfer the Sunset Bay facility an additional permit to the Hampton Roads Sanitation District. We did own that plant for a year before we transferred it to HRSD. We leased it back to the original developer for that year for some legality issues, but it worked. The town's first public sewage system. By this agreement, HRSD has committed to replacing the existing aging plants with new higher capacity plants by December of 2026, and to use the additional permit to offer sewage treatment to the island businesses. For our part of this project, the town of Chincoteague will build a low-pressure force main collection system along the downtown Main Street and Maddox Boulevard business districts to transport raw sewage to the new plants. This is under construction now. We signed a contract, of course, back in December for this project. It's $2.248 million, and that's the project we were discussing earlier. The configuration of the new system will require the use of individual pumps for each customer's connection. These pumps, located on the customer's property, will pump all sewage from the customer's business into the collection system and eventually to HRSD's treatment plant on Main Street. Business owners that decide to connect to the system will be required to furnish and install these pumps, as well as provide associated operation and maintenance costs. This, and many of you probably have not seen this before, I'll blow it up. This is an actual diagram that the engineer drew of what a customer's pump station will look like. You'll see right here where I'm moving the cursor, that is the property line between the town's property on the left and the owner's property on the right. You notice there's a valve right on that line, a curb stop we'll call it. This large thing on the right is the owner's pump station, which the owner will be in charge of installing and maintaining and operating. This line going out to the line is called the lateral. That line he will be, or the owner will be in charge or responsible for installing up to the curb stop. We will install the curb stop and the rest of the lateral onto the main line. So now you can see, and this is the sewer line coming into the station from the owner's business. Sewage will go into the pump station, it'll be pumped out into this force main and eventually into this round pipe here, which is the main sewer line, and that goes directly to Sunset Bay. This is something that we haven't shown you before, but it's been in the design from the beginning. Customer costs. Since the town will own and operate or own and maintain the collection system, the town will charge a connection fee to new customers along with an annual maintenance fee. These funds will be used to maintain the existing system and for future system expansion. Each customer will be billed maintenance services by HRSD, and they'll bill them at their standard rate that they charge everyone, which is a deal in this neck of the woods because it costs HRSD much more in rural areas to treat sewage than it does if you live in a metropolitan area like the Tidewater area, where it's much more efficient and they have savings of scale. But they bill everyone the same rate, so we benefit from the operation of scale in the Tidewater area there. The system route will start at Sunset Bay, which is at 3861 Main Street. It will proceed north on Main Street, turn right at Maddox Boulevard at the stoplight, and proceed on down Maddox all the way to the Island Museum. I will say that the drawing does go around the circle there to the left, but the pipe actually will go straight through there, or nearly straight through there, which you might think is very convenient since we intend to put bathrooms on that site. That is the route. The contractor has finished from the museum nearly to Depot Road now.
He's all the way to PNC Bank now.
He's all the way to PNC. Okay, so he's just short of Depot. But as I said, he will stop in the next few weeks and start back at Sunset Bay and work north along Main Street so he can finish that important corridor before it gets too late in his window here. Future expansions. In conjunction with the design of the new plants, HRSD is applying for additional discharge permits for the Sunset Bay site. Early on, HRSD spoke with DEQ and Shellfish Sanitation, who told them that the maximum permitted discharge from that site would not exceed 350,000 gallons per day. That does not mean that we have a permit yet for all of that, but they're just saying that they would not permit more than 350,000 gallons per day. So HRSD's plans through phased construction would wind up being 350,000 gallons a day at the peak of their construction. We have, not coincidentally, we have on purpose designed our collection system to handle 350,000 gallons a day. And hopefully by the time that, I think we'll go over that next, but yes, we're going to be able to handle 350,000 gallons a day once the pipe is complete. I think everyone knows 37,000 gallons a day, which is the current permit that we are approved for, is not enough to connect everyone along the entire route. The Planning Commission right now is looking at ways to ration that capacity, and they are also going to be looking at calculating a connection fee and establishing an annual maintenance fee for the customers that do connect. Hopefully, by the time the plant reaches the 350,000 gallons per day capacity, we will be able to service everyone along Main Street and Maddox Boulevard that is adjacent to this route.
Any questions for Mike?
Yeah, how close is the Coast Guard, is HRSD getting the Coast Guard property?
I haven't been involved in that since the very beginning, but I understand they're quite a ways along on that deal.
Okay.
So we think it's going to happen, and just to
Because in the real world, that's what they're waiting for, is to start plants. That same old plants are still there, and they're not going to use them at the end.
Everyone will remember when we made an agreement with HRSD, there was a few things we had to do. One of them was we had to purchase a lot from the Sunset Bay HOA, which was out on Main Street. And the other was they wanted us to pay $250,000 to upgrade the existing plants because they were in such bad shape, which the town agreed to. Between the lot that we purchased on their behalf for $150,000 on Main Street and the current existing lot where the plants are located lies a neat little block that contains the tennis courts that are owned by the U.S. Coast Guard. HRSD has been discussing the disposition of those lots with the Coast Guard for well over a year now, and my understanding is they're getting close to some kind of deal. The Coast Guard does not want to be in the sewage treatment business either, so there's a deal to be made there, and I think they're quite a ways along on doing that.
Any more questions for Mike on this?
Back to customer costs. So we've talked about a connection fee a lot. We've also got in here the annual maintenance fee.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that the council needs to decide on, correct?
Yes,
because
both of those are something council needs
right,
to
because
decide.
I think council needs to be made aware of all this. So you got connection fee, maintenance fee. You're also, they're going to be billed through Hampton Roads. So that's 3 different billings a year.
Well, the connection fee will be a one-time thing.
Well, I mean, the connection fee is a one-time thing.
Right.
But like with water, you're billed one-time connection, then your usage.
Correct.
You know, I want to see it, feel it out a little more on also charging an annual maintenance fee in addition to the connection fee.
The difference here is that the town of Chincoteague is the water utility. We own the water distribution system, and we bill for water treatment and delivery. We will own the collection system for the sewage treatment plant, but we do not own or operate the treatment plant itself. Therein lies the difference. HRSD will bill for their treatment services, but since they don't own the collection system, they will not be billing any monies that would help us maintain the system. For the water system, in our billing, we have calculated enough money to escrow that yearly so that we can maintain and upgrade the system as we go along. But if we don't have some kind of annual maintenance fee with the distribution system, we won't have any funds to maintain or upgrade that system as we go.
But you've got your connection fee.
Connection fee,
Which is not
yes.
going to be a true cost connection fee either.
It'd be whatever the council elects for it to be. And
Right, and you've got that money in escrow going forward. Yeah, I mean, I just think we need to really look at that hard. We don't want to overcharge.
I agree. If it were not for the ARPA money that we received, the town would be going out and would be borrowing this money to construct the connection system, the collection system, in which case we would be using the connection fees to repay the loan, which of course we don't have in this case.
Can you go back to that diagram, please?
Mm-hmm.
So right there, so in this maintenance fee, if, just say Chris hooks up to it with the pharmacy and something goes haywire, is it his responsibility on one end or the other, or is it all of it included in that maintenance fee?
The maintenance fee that we would collect, any maintenance fee that we would collect, would be used to maintain and upgrade from the property line outward on our property.
Not
So-
from,
so-
Customer himself would
not
be,
from their back.
the customer would be responsible for maintenance on their side of the line. Just exactly as in our water meters are, we were responsible for anything up to and including that meter, and anything on the customer side, they're responsible for maintaining. The same applies with leaks. If there's a leak on the customer side, they have to pay for the water and the repair. If the leak's on our side, it doesn't cost them anything.
Where we've got a little time, could we get with the other localities that have already done this? to get an idea of what?
We've been trying to have those conversations. I think I told you, I had a conversation with HRSD about rationing capacity, and the conversation ended with, if you have any ideas, send them to us, which I did.
Okay.
But yes,
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that let no man's good work go unused.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can learn from their.
Yeah, I think when you look at that, because I even forgot about the fourth charge that the connector's going to have, and that's all the stuff on his end. So you got connection fee, annual maintenance fee, handrails, sanitation usage fee, plus your own individual work on your end with the grinder pump and all that kind of stuff that you'll be maintaining at your cost.
Correct.
Yeah, I think we need to take a hard look at it.
You know, the nice thing about having a connection fee and an annual maintenance fee is you wouldn't have to necessarily make your connection fee so high to actually connect, which at the same time would, you know, probably encourage folks to connect to it. If you end up with an exasperated price because you're trying to avoid an annual maintenance fee, that number's going to grow exponentially.
What? And just to give you a little, for instance, last Friday, I think, and I gave everyone an update, we had a sewer leak in town. It was minor in nature, but we saw it. Public Works did a very good job taking care of it with the assistance of the contractor. But, you know, those types of things hopefully are infrequent, but you do need to have something in the bank to take care of those items.
Yeah, because the other thing we'll have to determine is, you know, what's the depreciable scale of what we're putting in. So,
Right.
you know, are we talking 10, 20, 25 years? And then based on that is, I would assume, how you want to base your maintenance charges. Because, you know, the other thing about trying to rely totally on a connection fee is costs tend to go up. And we've all seen the last 4 or 5 years how much costs can go up. So, you know, at least with the annual maintenance fee, you can stay a little bit more in tune with that than trying, you know, to estimate what it is wholly with a connection fee and then try to fund that by connection fee. Also, if somebody sells their property or their business, you know, the new person coming in would assume those charges. Whereas with the connection fee, it's you know, it's the burden of the original owner at the time it's connected.
If you remember when we were discussing this with HRSD, the reason that the town paid them $250,000 was because they said that connection fees had already been collected by the developer, but none of those monies had been returned to maintenance on the plant, and plants were in bad shape. So they wanted us to make up for that by paying $250,000 to help upgrade those plants. And since then, they've decided to replace the entire plant, so I feel like we got a good value on that. But that was their justification for asking for the money.
Anyone else?
But stuff can go seriously wrong, huh, Wes?
And will.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to continue and go to mayor, council, and comments, and I'm gonna go first this time. Recent, we've had 2 or 3 big snows this year, and Wes, I cannot say enough about your guys this last snowstorm. Everything looked like it went off without a hitch, and unbeknownst to probably all of us around here and even out there, I'm sure some things did go wrong, but we never knew it. And it was absolutely spot on, wonderful. You guys took care of this town and the people. And that goes too for our police department and your officers being out there, because that's the type of work they chose, and the same way with EMS. Those people over there, Gene said it earlier, we are very, very blessed with the employees we have here with this town, and I just cannot say enough about them. But I'm like you, I'm done with the snow, and I'm looking forward to, I just ordered some stuff from a boat the other day, so I'm ready for some things like that. So thank you again, and please
I'll pass it on.
Pass that on. Miss Ellen?
Thank you.
Chris?
I don't have anything this time.
Nick?
No, man.
Just echo what you said, and then also like to thank Village Neighbors for coming in. It's impressive what that program's grown into. So they are certainly deserving of any help of the town or any private citizens give them for sure. So proud of them.
Gene?
Yeah, like I say, we don't say it just to say it either. I mean, we can't pay, we couldn't even find employees that do as good a job as what we get for free with our volunteer groups. You couldn't, there's no need to go look if we had the money, because what we're getting for free is better than what we can haul out, put out there.
And they're kind to the people. The
Yeah.
people know that.
Oh, yeah. And in every aspect of all of our volunteer agencies. Just like I said, a lot of times you even hear people say that it's not even legal to give. Well, we'll figure that out later on, but we want, and not only that, we're not just giving them the money. I think they really want us to let the town know that we appreciate them, and we do. And like I said, that's the sincerity of it too, because the money that we give does not fund what they need. Let's get realistic too, you know what I'm saying? But we're blessed, and like I said, our employees, like you say, we'll find out that some of their counterparts are making $140,000 a year on average. We're not paying nowhere they're at, so we're past being blessed. You all put out the effort, and like you said, you can tell that you care. And like I said, during the storm, they're out there all night long. We appreciate it. Just let them know that we do.
Jay?
Just kind of reiterating what everybody else has said, just town's doing a great job, all the employees doing a great job, and I had so many comments and compliments come in my way regarding Public Works and what they did to the roads and so forth, and especially for, 60% of Chicago here is, is elderly and so forth, so, yeah. Everybody did a great job.
Easy, Jay.
Thank you.
Mike, you have something?
Thank you. I was just going to say, everybody during the snow emergency, everybody, emergency services, all public works, and our public safety folks, everybody did a wonderful job. Ladies in the office, everybody did a great job, and I congratulate our employees. They're all top notch when it comes to this.
You read.
Okay, Mayor's asked me to read a proclamation here, or at least a letter from the Office of the Governor to the Mayor Denise Baden. Dear Mayor Baden, on behalf of the Commonwealth of Virginia, congratulations on being recognized in Southern Living Magazine's prestigious Best of the South Awards for the small town category. We celebrate and honor you for your accomplishments in Virginia. Southern Living Magazine's Best of the South Awards celebrate the very essence of Southern charm, creativity, and excellence. Your achievements not only reflect your talents and commitment, but also contribute to the rich tapestry of our region's culture and traditions. As recipients of this esteemed honor, you showcase the values of innovation, community, and hospitality that make our region so unique and beloved. Your success inspires us all. The First Lady joins me in congratulating you on this award. We wish you all the best for future, and thank you for strengthening the spirit of Virginia. Sincerely, Glenn Youngkin.
Another accolade for Timothy. Thank you all for being here tonight. Chief Brian West, thank you for everything. I need a motion to go into closed session in accordance with 2.2-3711A 37 of the Code of Virginia for the consideration of the purchase of real property for a public use and a legal briefing by staff.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, go into closed session.